can't see pugilistic dementia. You can't see it straight after the fight. You see it 1-2 years after the fight. And so one has to be mindful of Dereck's health, and one has to have people around him that are not so eager to earn a pound note and say, go and fight next week or 2 weeks' time. That, to me, ain't right. Oh, this guy's got family to go home to. He's got children, or he's got a child.
Let me tell you this.
Who's looking out for Dereck Chisora other than Dereck Chisora? I'm going to say that again. Who's looking out for Dereck Chisora other than Dereck Chisora? Without cussing David Hay, because as I say,
I'm not cussing.
No, I know you ain't, but I'm saying without sounding like we're cussing, because you know people perceive things different.
I don't care.
Yeah, you don't need to tell me you don't care. You know I don't care. But what I'm trying to say is, for David, I'm saying we're not, just as elders to him, I just feel that they responded too quickly, and what they should have done is Dereck and David should have sat down, let them wrestle for 1 week. Dereck had no business being in the gym on the Monday, even just to say hello to his brethren. They should have wrestled and spoke, sat down and plot their next move, as opposed to rushing and just getting on TV and saying, yeah, we're ready to fight the next week. But you ain't thinking about man's health. Dream it, believe it, become it.
Come on down.
Bro, Spence, jazz up the thing more than that.
Nah, my kids are sleeping.
All right.
Welcome to another episode of The Fight Is Right with myself, the Master Knowledge, and my partner in legality, Brother Tunde Ajayi, Master Genius. And we're going to be breaking down the fights that happened last week. We got to talk about Usyk versus Chisora. A lot of things have been going on since then. Tun, take it away.
Well, I mean, I guess for most, it was pretty much as expected. You know, everybody expected Dereck to give a gallant effort, but just come up short. But I think he gave more than a gallant effort. And I've heard some people even claim that, you know, they thought Dereck should have won it. I personally don't think that. I personally think it was, I mean, you could have watched the first round and forward to the 12th round, and it was the same thing. Dereck having to chase this guy all over the shop. And in my opinion, Usyk he never lit up no heavyweight division with that performance. I think the big boys will just run him over. I don't think he can last 12 rounds in that type of boxing against power punchers like the AJs. You know, like even Tyson Fury, because man's guy don't like Tyson Fury can't punch. We will see that he can punch based on his last performance.
I think Tyson Fury would be way too big for Usyk. Dereck Chisora came in and bullied Usyk. I can't see Usyk doing anything against any of the big guys, to tell you the honest truth. I think they'd be too big, too powerful for him. And there's many times when we was watching the fight, Tun, I see Usyk's legs stiffen from when Dereck was hitting on overhand rights.
100%.
Right? And I remember...
And body shots.
Very true. And he was looking at the referee like to say like, oh, I'm being hit low. You wasn't being hit low. You was just getting hit around the sides in the body. And when I see a guy complaining to the referee...
Spence. Why you keep on going, you're drinking too much carrot juice, isn't it?
Nah, man. He's getting his punch.
Bro, right? You think I don't know? What's that? Guinness punch?
Yeah, 100.
You see, I told you, bro. You see, I didn't even see the thing. Bro, stop drink them, man. They're making you pick up all the time. You Jamaicans, you think it's going to give you some magic powers. So...
Tunde, I got 4 kids. It must be doing something.
Yes, it must be working. Right. Anyway, sorry. Carry on.
I'm seeing Usyk turning to the referee every time he's getting punched. Like, look. Right. And I never like seeing that.
Yes.
I never like seeing that. It's just like, I don't like seeing guys too smiley when they're in the ring with the opponent. And like, I hate guys who want to touch gloves with guys at the end of the round. I hate that. I've seen a lot of that. These are the things that initiates to me in my mind that you can get down and dirty at cruiserweight, and I give you your juice. You're one of the greatest cruiserweights ever to live. The first man to win all 4 world titles. Evander Holyfield would have won all 4 world titles, but at the time when he was campaigning, the WBO wasn't invented yet. So I would see you getting broke up by Tyson Fury, and you getting steamrolled by Anthony Joshua. I'm just telling you as it is. Because when I see man complaining to the referee, Jim Watt, that always used to say when I was a kid, and I watch all the big fights. Jim Watt, former WBC lightweight champion of the world from Scotland, would always say,
great commentator. I liked it.
Excellent commentator.
A lot of people don't like it, but I liked it.
Yeah. You know what I mean? He'd always turn around and say, oh, look, he's complaining to the referee. I've never liked seeing that.
Yes,
and he'd say that. Them times I'm watching boxing, I'm like 12 years old. It's always stuck with me. So when I see guys complaining to the ref, I don't like it.
Yes.
And that's what we've seen Usyk do a lot of.
So
I'm not saying he's not skilled.
Yes.
I'm not saying he's not talented. He is. He's all those kind of things. But remember, there's a reason why we have 17 different weight divisions, and heavyweight is heavyweight. Maybe there's talk that the WBC are going to make a new division called the Super Cruiserweights. Yes, I hope that they don't, but allegedly I'm going to make it. And I think that he could be the king of the Super Cruiserweights, but you can't ramp with those big guys.
Moving towards the actual fight, I mean, on 2 scorecards was 113, 115, and the other one was quite wide, in my opinion, of 112, 117. What's your take on the scorecard, Spence? Because I personally, I mean, 3 rounds I could have said to Usyk clear. Dereck was the one who made the fight, I felt, and he was the one pressuring the fight. That doesn't necessarily mean that it was an effective pressure, as Harold Lederman used to say.
Yeah, but do you think that Dereck Chisora was getting the right instruction from his corner?
Well, that's one thing. That's the point I wanted to touch on, because again, you know, a lot of people are making mention. Go on.
Who are they, man? I'm asking you.
Well, apparently there's some MMA man, and to be honest with you,
no, I mean, Tunde, I want you to lie to me, brother.
No, yeah, you know, it's just something we say. But I personally think that was a good performance by Dereck. Was he getting the right information in the corner? Absolutely not. That man there was watching a different fight. And yes, that could have something to do with their inexperience in the corner. Yes, I definitely agree with that. But as a performance on the whole, I think Dereck done well. But I know, and you know, when you get to that level of the sport, you need knowledgeable people in there, even if they're not experienced. Because sometimes new knowledge can compete with experience, as we've seen with myself and Anthony Yard. And I feel that those guys, 1, weren't knowledgeable, and 2, inexperienced.
You know what? I'm gonna tell you 100. I would have preferred if David Haye had worked
in the corner. Yes.
100%. David Haye's very, very knowledgeable, and also David Haye's very, very articulate.
And experienced.
On what? Yeah, his experience is paramount. You know what I mean? He's a 2-weight world champion. But not only that, but I just think like he's got very good conveyancing skills, because he convinced a lot of people that we was going to go buy an excellent fight on the weekend. He meant Eddie Hearn, so
he convinced Arab man that they should buy sand.
Yeah. He's got skills, bro.
Arab man was buying sand because of David Haye.
Yeah, so because of that, I've got to say, I would have been better with that if that was the case. But what I've noticed is this, and I spoke to Don Charles this week, right? And what I noticed is this, is like, when you're working with a fighter, and it's the first time, it takes 5 fights before you can adjust to him. Unless you're one of those people, but usually it takes about 5 fights before you're going to see that build of camaraderie. 1 training camp, 2 training camps ain't gonna build nothing, because Dereck has worked with Don Charles for a municipal amount of years, and then all of a sudden, you're not working with Don Charles. Don Charles knows everything about you, knows how to talk to you, knows you get what I'm trying to say, knows your emotional content, knows you as a fighter. Then, and this is no disrespect to Ruben Tobias or whatever his name is, but he was a very, very good 400 meters runner.
Athlete, yes.
You're an athlete. This is not boxing.
Yeah.
It's not boxing.
But he's been around.
It's not boxing.
I mean, he's been around boxers. I remember.
I don't care who you've been around. I don't care who you've been around.
In past, he was around Amir Khan when Amir Khan was getting broke up in Freddie Roach's gym.
Exactly. So it's never been good stories about, you know, is it?
And so with me as well, I feel that you can't be a jack of all trades in boxing. You can't. You need to focus on one particular area and aim to be a master in that. And I feel that, I'm not trying to say he's doing that, but it didn't look right seeing Ruben in the corner in that main position. On the outside of the ring, yes, because if you're with someone every day, then I agree with that. But I just don't feel that he should have been the man giving the main instructions to Dereck. And then again, as you've just quite rightly pointed out, you need time to bond with a fighter. You know, but is that the trainers coming in full, or is that Dereck's fault?
It's both. Yeah, I mean, it's both. Remember, money's coming in. David Hayes, that your manager and promoter.
Yes.
Yeah. So obviously, David Hayes following the blueprint that he's been around himself, like Adam Booth when he was with Adam Booth. Adam Booth brought in the guys that was around him from the longest time. I'm not knocking him for doing that. That's what you're meant to do. But at that level, when you're dealing with a new commodity, it was actually an old commodity, but it's a new commodity to you. I think that if you take shortcuts, you never reach the destination that you're meant to go to because you're taking a shortcut.
I understand. I do feel that in boxing, there's always going to be an excuse. There's always going to be something that we can say we should have done, could have done, and would have done. Because, correct me if I'm mistaken, I feel that he had the same corner when he knocked out Takam, didn't he?
No, he never. When he had Takam, Don Charles was in his corner. I was ringside.
Oh, yeah.
Don Charles was in his corner.
Oh, wow. That's interesting.
Okay. So,
that's very interesting.
Yeah, I mean, that's
what
I'm saying.
Very interesting. That's very interesting. Yeah, that's a good point, Spence. 100%. Right. But in terms of the performance, what would you rate Dereck's overall performance in the fight?
I thought it was a very, very gutsy, determined performance, but Dereck did lose the fight.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not in the right, but what I'm trying to say is that he fought gallantly enough to show that there's still something left in the tank. But unfortunately, as I said when we did our Zoom last week, and I worked with, as the adage says, that you can't teach an old dog new tricks. And Dereck Chisora never showed me like nothing new in that fight. So he lived up to it. If he'd have boxed differently, then I would have said, yeah, but there was nothing that Dereck. When have you ever seen Dereck throw a punch and do a 360 in the ring?
You know, bro, I'm not too sure, but...
Well then, Dereck Chisora threw a shot and he spun 360. Like, yeah, I mean, I remember years ago, because remember Dereck used to have that kind of tough hairstyle looking thing. I used to nickname him the Blanca.
Street fighter business.
Right.
Street fighter.
Exactly, but Blanca used to do the spin.
Spin thing, innit? But, oh man, listen, I don't know. What I do want to get your opinion, and it's something I feel strongly about, is David Hay and Dereck, because you can't just put all on David, both coming out and said they will step in to fight Dillian Whyte. Now, in my opinion, if David Hay really cared about Dereck, I'm just keeping it real. He shouldn't have said that. He wouldn't put his man in with another fight of that magnitude so soon after beating. And yeah, we can all say, oh yeah, hands are fine, no bumps, no bruises. But you can't see, listen, you can't see pugilistic dementia. You can't see it straight after the fight. You see it 1-2 years after the fight. And so one has to be mindful of Dereck's health, and one has to have people around him that are not so eager to earn a pound note and say, go and fight next week or 2 weeks' time. That, to me, ain't right. And I don't care how tough Dereck is, because we all know Dereck is a tough back African, and Dereck, as a fighter, would fight anyone. And that's what fighters do. But one of the reasons why you have to have people around you that are with you for a period of time is that they can look at you and say, nah, hear what? We just got some money, relax off yourself, take the rest of the year off and come again. No, 2 weeks later, yeah, fight again. Bruv, this guy's got family to go home to. He's got children, or he's got a child.
Let me tell you
this. Who's looking out for Dereck Chisora?
They're not.
Than Dereck Chisora.
I'm
going to say that again. Who's looking out for Dereck Chisora other than Dereck Chisora?
Tunde, they're not. Because let me tell you this. Regardless that Dereck got ways to bully up Usyk in that fight, people seem to forget. Round 7, he nearly got stopped. Stunned. Right, he was on the verge of getting stopped.
Yeah. So you can't tell me the front punch never had no effect.
Exactly, of course it had an effect. So this is what I'm trying to say. Right now, David Haney is in the commodity business.
Yes.
There is nobody else remotely close to pay-per-view in his camp. I don't know how many fighters he's got because I don't know them. So therefore, you ain't got nobody. Do you understand? I know that you've been trying to inveigle a couple fighters though. A couple people I know, you've been trying to invite them down to your poker club and all the rest of it. But that's another story for another day. Right? So I'm saying, obviously, you're going to think, right, let's go dash him in. You know why? Because unfortunately, there ain't no caring in this thing. They're looking at my man like a piece of meat.
Having said that, sorry, Spence, having said that, one thing I will say about David, you know, David is the pay-per-view king when it comes to the UK. He was the man who started this thing. And he has
it was Carl Froch. It was Carl Froch that brought it back. David Hay made us lose it after the All-Day Harrison fight.
Yeah, but what I'm trying to say, when David Hay was on pay-per-view, he done tremendous numbers.
Ridiculous.
Tremendous numbers. And so I have to back David Hay in the sense that he's done his job. He's earned Dereck some great paydays over the last, 2 years he's been working with Del? Or so. And so I commend David for that. But on this one here, David, I have to say, because they responded so quickly after the fight. Like I'm seeing Coogan in the gym on the Monday. And on the Monday, they're chatting about, yeah, we're ready to fight Dillian. So I'm saying to myself, without cussing David Hay, because as I say,
I'm not cussing.
No, I know you ain't, but I'm saying without sounding like we're cussing, because you know people perceive things different.
I don't care.
Yeah, you don't need to tell me you don't care. You know I don't care. But what I'm trying to say is, for David, I'm saying we're not, just as elders to him, I just feel that they responded too quickly, and what they should have done is Dereck and David should have sat down, let them rest up for 1 week. Dereck had no business being in the gym on the Monday, even just to say hello to his brethren. They should have rest off and sat down and plot their next move, as opposed to rushing and just getting on TV and saying, yeah, we're ready to fight the next week. Bro, you ain't thinking about man's health. Because don't think Dillian Whyte is coming in there to joke. Dillian Whyte is coming in to render you unconscious like the last time. That's a fact.
Very true.
That's a fact. So David and Dereck, I know, you know, both of them are great guys. They should have sit down. You know, this is Uncle Tunde and Uncle Spencer here talking. They should have sit down and have a talk and discuss where next to go with Dereck. And maybe they were just bluffing with the whole Dillian Whyte jumping.
No, they wasn't.
Yeah.
Because if it was there, they would still make good pay-per-view numbers. So what would Dereck Chisora want from me? I reckon it would do. It's COVID. We're in lockdown as well. Definitely. It make numbers.
That's true.
You know, it make numbers.
But the fight last week, we was in lockdown. And what were the numbers for that?
Apparently, I've heard that he did 200,000 buys. And if he did 200,000 buys for Usyk's first,
that's quite good.
That's good numbers, you know. Like £20 a pop. That's good numbers, man.
Quite good. Yeah, that's quite good. All right. So that's great. Moving on, we have Devin Haney, the superstar young kid against old foot Gamboa, who, in my opinion, is going to let us know more about Devin than we did know previously. Because I can't really see no one on Dev's, as Bill always says, Dev. I can't see no one on Dev's resume where I can say, yeah, that's a standout name. You know, as opposed to now Javante banging out Santa Cruz, Teofimo dealing with solving the matrix and beating Lomachenko. Ryan Garcia and Devin still have to prove themselves against top competition. Ryan Garcia actually has a great challenge in Luke Campbell. So that's another one. So all three of the fighters have had live opponents. I don't know how live Gamboa is because I still haven't watched that tank fight properly. But from what you tell me, he's okay, but he's on his last legs.
What are you talking about? He was down round 2, round 8, and round 12 against Tank.
Wow.
Right. So that's what it gets stopped. It gets TKO'd in the last round, but he was just consistently getting knocked down in Gamboa. But, I think, how old is Gamboa now? 65 now? How old is he old now, man? He's 38 years old, bro.
Bro, you know why he get older? Because he was pushing trucks. I remember me and 50 Cent was arguing. He's like, man, Gamboa's the truth. I said, bro, Gamboa ain't no truth. You know me, I got a big mouth. So me, 50, was going at it. And he's like, man, this brother be pushing trucks. Pushing trucks.
Let him join the AA.
Listen, he let you. I said, I had a friend who did the same thing. Danny Williams.
He's punching her ass.
Pushing car down Peckham. You understand? And all that training just burn out your legs, in my opinion. So I told 50 from then, I don't think that he'll last long with that type of training. And he's underachieved as far as I'm concerned.
Definitely. And imagine we're talking about a 2-time weight world champion as an underachiever, right? Because when he first came on the scene, everyone was like, God, this guy.
He's amazing.
But, yeah,
that's what living in Vegas does.
Living in Vegas, not only that, but coming from Cuba, adverse poverty. When the man comes to Vegas and they find out about, what's that place? Fat Burger. What's that place you went to?
Yeah, Fat Burger. That's the place, bro. Fat Burger is a different kind of burger.
I'm telling you, bro. When you
remember we went there, innit? Did we do the thing on the wall, the challenge?
Yeah.
Was that you? Or was that that might have been
it was me, you, and Otto vomiting.
Bro, your memory, you got some different kind of memory, you know. This guy's Gary. See, this guy's memory is too long. This guy remembers everything.
Yeah, I remember the Fat Burger challenge. You know what I mean? And Tunde nearly crashed the car because you weren't used to driving on left-hand.
Yeah. Bro, we've had some experiences. God almighty.
Yeah. So I'm saying, Gamboa, I reckon the best win on Gamboa's resume was Salido.
Yes.
Remember, Gamboa beat Salido, right? Yes. But you have to see, the guy's underachieved. And we're talking about, and you're not disciplined. That's why you could be, when you went up to lightweight and you fought Terence Crawford.
Yes.
And Terence Crawford put them hands on you.
Jeez.
Even though he worked up, he jerked Terence Crawford in that fight still, you know?
Yes, he did.
And he clapped Terence Crawford. But I just got to tell it as it is. Gamboa is, he's just come off of a stoppage loss. Now, the pressure is not on Gamboa. The pressure is all on Devin Haney. Because everyone will be saying, well, Gervonta stopped him. Gervonta didn't look particularly good, even though he knocked him down 3 times in 3 consecutive rounds in that fight, in different rounds, sorry, in that fight. He didn't overly impress people in that because he was trying too hard.
Okay.
You know what I mean? But the pressure's on my guy now because this is the livest opponent that you're up against, and people are going to be sitting down and saying to him, you're not fighting no C-class opponents now.
Yep.
Right?
This is what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's a liver one than what you're used to. That's what I could say.
Yes, this is the point I'm saying. I really want to see how Devin deals with, in my opinion, his first real test. Even though Gamboa is 2 years short of 40 years old, even though he's been stopped, every loss he's had has been a stoppage loss, I still think it's a good measure stick for Dev. And let's get it right. Dev's a baby.
21 years old.
Out?
21.
21 years old. Devin, when he was here in 2012, he was sparring. I remember he sparred with Daniel, then he sparred with Otto. But I remember, bro, he was strong as a 12-year-old. So I'm thinking to myself, we're in 2020 now. He's 20 years old or so. he must know something because his dad had him sparring with everyone. Sean Porter, bro, his dad had him in the ring with everyone. So he's got that experience. So I just want to see it because I'll be honest with you, technically, I haven't seen it. I still think he's very wide with his punches. And maybe it's because he hasn't had the right opponent to display the next level of talent. So I'm looking forward to this fight tonight.
Yeah, so am I, but we still can't knock an unbeaten record. And
no way.
Right, we can't. And this is for the official WBC crown. Even though my man Teofimo Lopez is a WBC franchise champion, but in my mind, he's the legit WBC champion. But it makes no difference. Titles are so fragmented. It is what it is. But I still would like to see Devin Haney show us something in this fight, because he has to show us something, because he's in with a liver opponent, not a live one, but a liver opponent than what he's been in with before, and an experienced man. So we'll see what's going to happen. But I can still see Devin, because Devin claps with that right hand, you know.
Yeah,
he throws very hard.
Yeah, he throws a very strong overhand right. Yeah, good fighter. He's got all the fundamentals. Lives the sport. His dad brought him up to be a superstar from the amateurs. You know, naming him the dream. I've been around them. I've been in the house. I see how dedicated and how focused Devin is. Never out of shape, and he's playing the role well. But even when I saw an interview yesterday, he still seems very, very young to me, and because he is young. You know, and it's like, but, you know, you can have some 21-year-olds that are quite mature, but he's a baby. He is literally a baby, even with his speech. And it's kind of like, for me, it's, when I hear him talk, I'm like, it don't even sound real. So I just wanted to, it don't even sound real. So I want to see Dev really put on a head of a performance tonight and do the business. Show me what I know he's got.
And I'm you know what? And for that, I'll see. I think the safe bet's for him to win unanimously on points. That's the safe thing, to stay unanimously on points. But whereas Gamboa don't really take it on the chops too well, and Dev is gonna try and catch him on the chops. And
Dev will.
He will. So I'm going for. No, I can't see Devin knocking him out, but I could see around 9 or 10 stoppage. Around, you know what I mean? 9th or 10th round stoppage for Devin Haney. Like,
I'm going for a wild card, and I think Dev's gonna stop him in 3 rounds.
Okay.
But I'm just doing that just to disagree with you and give it a different option. But you know the knowledge is always right. So
no. Listen,
I did want to say points. I'll be honest with you. I did want to say points.
Yeah, but I don't want it to go points.
Yeah, I don't want it to go points because then that's going to be boring. So I'm going to go for the excitement, and I'm going to go for Devin Haney, 3rd round KO.
And you know what? I hope that he does do something like that so he can keep his name in the mix. Because anyhow he doesn't put in a better performance than what Gervonta Davis put in,
bro,
they're not going to be chatting about him. I'll tell you that now.
So Devin said it. He said the whole lightweight division is going to be watching him. All eyes are on him. That's amazing. An amazing amount of pressure for a young one. But I know Dev can handle it because he's been groomed for this moment in time. Literally. Yeah. I think that's a wrap.
That is a wrap. And seeing as we're speaking on the 7th today, it is the 32nd anniversary to the first man ever to become a 5-weight world champion, and that's when Sugar Leonard famously knocked out Donny Lalonde in the 9th round after being floored in round 4, getting up, and he became the inaugural WBC super middleweight champion, November 7th, 1988. And the WBC light heavyweight champion because he was very smart, very, very similar to what Gervonta Davis
done with Santa Cruz.
Santa Cruz was 2 weights, 2 titles. You come down to a lower weight, but if you lose, you lost for the higher weight title as well. Sugar Leonard was the first man to go and do it, but people could argue and say that it was Tommy Hearns because 3 days prior to that, Tommy Hearns beats James Kinchin on points for the WBO super middleweight title. But the thing about this is like nobody rated that because the WBO at the time wasn't really a recognized body. So Sugar Ray Leonard, my hat's off to the Sugar Man because he became the world's first 5-weight world champion by beating Donovan. And today marks the 32nd anniversary. So it is what it is.
Wait there. If you didn't know, get to know the one, the only Spencer Fearon, aka Master Knowledge, aka Mastermind, aka the Oxford Cambridge Dictionary of Boxing. Dream it, believe it, become it.
I'm on that.
Yeah!